And hello and welcome to another episode of Improperly Packaged, a show where we unbox topics related to movies, TV, games, whatever. I'm Jordan. With me is Luke. How you doing, Luke?
I'm doing well.
Sorry,
What's that?
a gnat. It was so stupid, so stupid to bring up at the front of a podcast. A gnat. It's like, when a gnat gets so close to your vision, you're like, it freaks you out. Sorry, no, it was literally the smallest thing possible, a gnat. So, yeah, there's that.
On a better note, Jordan has an entire bottle of wine by him, so we're doing this thing right tonight, ladies and gents.
Yeah, doing this Mortal Kombat review right. I don't know what this means, but we're doing
Could be in celebration or to drink your sorrow away.
Oh yeah, we'll find out. That's
wait
a good
to
tease.
find out.
That's a really good tease. I like it.
Don't fast forward, please, but wait to find out.
Oh my God, is he okay?
Somebody's just frantically tapping 30 seconds forward, 30 seconds forward.
Is Jordan all right? I'm fine either way.
We have some interesting stuff to talk about before then, I promise.
I think so.
Swears it.
I guess. I mean, we'll see.
We do. I do.
Okay.
I have stuff you have no idea that I'm going to talk about.
Oh man, that is exciting of itself. It makes me want to.
Built it up way too much.
Well, all right. I'll bring myself down a little bit. How's your week been? Been doing all right?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Your favorite movie won an Oscar, so.
Oh, Nomadland, yeah. Yeah. So
I'll say it's just a down year for the Oscars. I'll say.
Yeah,
I'll just say that
100%. I mean,
it's not a big year, really.
You know me, man. Every year I hype up the Oscars. I'm like, I'm gonna watch every movie. We're gonna watch the Oscars together. This is the first year I've in like a long time, like a decade, seriously, that I didn't do that at all, and I feel fine about it, honestly.
So we actually typically watch it together too. We get a group of us together and we watch it. And first of all, this year I just didn't feel like it. But the other thing is, I went to watch like the end of it. I actually tried to watch it at the beginning too, and ABC has now made it completely impossible for me to watch like live ABC.
Even better.
So we cut the cord, like you did a while ago.
Yeah.
We cut the cord far really long ago now, but the strange thing, like as much as I love my TV, the strange thing about it is I cannot figure out how to play antenna through it. Like there's the coaxial hookup on the box that like runs the TV, but there is no option, unless I'm just an idiot, but I've looked at YouTube video after YouTube video. I've actually contacted Samsung about this, but there's no option to actually switch to that input. There's all the HDMIs, there's the digital port for audio.
Yeah.
But it never pops up. I've tried, hooking several different types of antennas up. It just doesn't pop up. There's no option to switch that. So I can't do it that way, which is what I had been doing for a while, after I cut the cord. And it's what I do with my other TVs. But so, a lot of apps have streaming available. The ABC app does, CBS app, of course, does, which, that was the whole thing. Like CBS made you pay for it now.
Yeah.
NBC has it, Fox has it. And I use those apps most of the time. It's usually sports, but every once in a while there'll be some show I want to watch on something live. But ABC has now made it so if you sign in with Dish, which is my parents' satellite TV subscription, not available.
Man.
So there was literally no way for me to watch the Oscars, which kind of blew my mind last night. I was thinking about it. It was like, so you're telling me that you have advertisements that you get paid for the number of views, and you're going to put me behind a paywall to watch your advertisements during your live show? I don't understand that.
Wow.
So
I got some numbers for you, Luke. Back in 2014, the Oscars viewership was at 43.7 million. It's gone down. It's trickled down every single year. The last year, 2020, was at 23 million. So that's quite a lot, right? That's like 50% down from 2014.
Still higher than I would have thought. But
yeah. But this tonight, the Oscars are Sunday night, last night. The Oscars were at 9.8 million.
Wow.
Wow.
That's like just the people in Hollywood watching, the
Right?
people in LA.
Right? I don't
Like
know what
LA's
it
like
is, man.
30 million or something. 20 million. It's something like that.
It's like,
So it's like a third of the people that live in LA watched it, and that's it.
I think there's I see these numbers because I see Jeff Keighley was tweeting about this, kind of like, I guess,
Yeah.
thumbing in the nose into their face, because he does the Game Awards. I don't know if how cocky he's trying to be or whatever, but the Game Awards 2020, their numbers were at 83 million viewers. I don't know if that was live. A lot of that was probably just YouTube people coming off after the fact, but it can't be denied. They've been
It
on
is
the
games
upside
heyday right now.
Oh yeah, and comparing
Especially
the
this
two,
year.
it's definitely a different affair. There is love of the games at the Game Awards, regardless if they show games you like. It's just games, games, games. But it feels like it's just love of the games with the Game Awards, and the Oscars is just a lot of people who are in love with themselves. More and more, I become increasingly frustrated with it.
And it's very preachy as
very
well. On top of
preachy.
that,
and it's like one of those things. So I don't think it's a secret that we are both people of faith. We're both Christians. I don't like being preached at in movies. Like, honestly, when it comes to like even Christian media, I hate being preached at. If I feel like it's too preachy, I don't like it. I'm like, you know what? If I want to be preached at, I'll go to church, which I do. And so even if sometimes I'll agree with what they're saying, and I'm just annoyed still. I'm like, shut up, you narcissist fool. And that's not the only reason. I feel like the movies this year, not like very few of them really appealed to me. I mean, I saw two of them that were nominated: Nomadland, sorry, and the Trial of the Chicago 7. They were fine. They were both fine. Like, I liked Chicago, the Trial of the Chicago 7 more than Nomadland, but oh man, I don't know. Maybe there's just no joy in it anymore. Maybe that's it. Maybe people want joy now. They're craving joy. It's been a tough year, and
you would kind of think it would be more of an up year too, wouldn't you? When it's like so much media has been consumed at home. A lot of these things like Nomadland is a streaming movie. I mean, there's really no excuse for why the Oscars should not matter anymore. I mean, it's not like people all of a sudden have fallen out of love with TV and movies. I mean, that stuff's being consumed at an all-time high.
I know.
It's just this specific thing. I think it's a statement against this.
I think so too.
Specifically.
And it's like the state of our world, I think, helps with that. I think people are obviously with the numbers, people are getting fed up each and every year. People are dropping off. And because of just how it is, I mean, they keep making the wrong choices, and it's been a rough year. It's been a sad year. And, it's like people don't want to gather around, watch an award show about a lot of sad movies with sad content matter with people who are here telling you how terrible the world is. We know. Now we kind of want.
I've talked about this a lot. It's just, I hate it when movies do that. What was it? The good example for me was when there was that like 13 billboards.
Yeah,
isn't that what it was?
3 billboards, I think, outside of Ebbing, Missouri. Yeah,
and it's like, okay, like, it's not that this is not a good movie. That's not my problem. It's a well-made movie, great acted movie. It's about something awful. It's like, I don't want to see this. It's like, it's exactly what you said. It's like, yep, life is depressing. You're right. I don't need you to confirm what I already know by living in the world we live in. Like, of course, there's a lot of bad things.
Absolutely. And,
Great. What a revelation.
Yeah. I'm fine with a sad movie. Absolutely. It takes all types, but I just don't think I have it in me to watch 9 movies in a row that are all very depressing. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know if all of them are as equally depressing as Nomadland, how sad that movie made me feel, but I don't know.
I think it's one of the reasons Marvel's done so well, because it's stories of victory and stories of, good conquering evil. It's
there's hope.
That's what we like. It's an old, played out formula, but there's a reason it's played out, because it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
People want to see the good guy win, period.
Video games, one of the highest grossing video games this year was Animal Crossing, a game that it's designed to make you feel good. But
Yep.
if you're into that sort of thing, not feeling good, just the kind of
And the rest of the people are just killing each other in Warzone.
Bam, 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 bam. Feels good in a different way.
Yeah.
But anyways, what have we been consuming? What have we been watching / playing / listening to?
There's I'll just go quickly since we spent a lot of time on that. There's a cover called Don't Wait. It's the Dashboard song covered by this band X's, EXES, and it's really good.
Ooh.
Listen.
X's. All right. I like a good cover. I enjoyed that cover album you sent me. You sent me a cover album, and I really enjoyed it, especially the 1975 cover. That really that was really good.
It was good.
The Night Traveler, they came out with a new their full-length album. We've talked about them before. It's
our boys. Yeah,
it's like it's kind of like a 90s ballad rock kind of deal if you like Bryan Adams.
Yep.
Here you go. This is awesome. They came out with their first full-length album, Dreams You Don't Forget, Night Traveler. Check it out.
So good.
I've been watching / playing this week. Probably the biggest thing for me is Nier Replicant came out this Friday.
Jordan, I went back and I was listening to last week's episode, and it was either last week or the week before. I don't remember. Mm-hmm. What is the game that you and Adam talked about where you said that after the ending of the game, there's like all this like 20 more hours?
Nier
was that
Autonoma.
not Nier Autonoma?
Yeah.
Automata. So that was a pretty long game, right? Or there wasn't much before that, and then...
It's like, it wasn't that it was that long. It was just that we were surprised with how long it was, because...
Okay.
What you think is the ending.
I thought you had said that was a long one, so that's why I was thinking this new one would be a long one. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. They usually are thinking
it was like 30 hours or something.
Yeah, with how Nier Automata is, it like has an ending, but then you continue forward and the story just keeps going. You're like, oh,
was there more after the credits?
Definitely.
Than there was before. Wow. That is weird.
And like more story too. I've never seen anything like it to where I'm like, oh, this is where all the story happens. It was kind of like crazy, but it's like the best part of the game. It's hilarious.
So this continues that story?
This is a remake-ish kind of remake / remaster / retooling of the game that came before Nier Automata.
That's strange.
And so yeah, it's very strange. It's a game that it was called Nier in the US. It was released in the PlayStation 3, and there was a game called Nier Replicant that was released only in Japan. This is like a retooling of that game. It feels a lot more like Nier Automata. They cleaned up a lot of the visuals, a lot of new voice acting. They cleaned up the character designs. It looks just about as good as Nier Automata, I would say. It's like they're taking a PlayStation 3 game and they're,
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was that old.
Yeah,
okay.
It's old. But they've added a lot of voice acting, stuff like that. It feels really good. It feels like...
I thought it was a sequel.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
But yeah, the thing is, you can almost play them in any order. They take place thousands of years in time between each other. So you can kind of see some of the history of mankind through this game. You're like, okay, I can see a little bit of stuff, but it's all just kind of lore cookies. It's nothing that really like, oh man, I wish I knew this before I played Autonoma. No, it doesn't really matter. There's just a lot of thematic similarities. Characters that kind of pop up, but they're not quite the same characters, so it doesn't really matter. And I'm having a great time. I'm 10 hours into it, and these games are just for me. They're RPGs in the sense that like you level up and you go and you do quests and you go walk around the world, but it's very action oriented. It's very hack and slash. The guy who made these games are very weird. Every now and then he'll like throw a new genre at you. Like the first one, not the first one, goodness gracious. Nier Automata did this a lot where it would go to like twin stick shooter, kind of like over the top shooter.
Yeah.
Here and there. This game, like for like one level, it turned into like a dungeon, I should say. It turned into like a dungeon crawler, like sort of like Diablo. It turned into like that over the top like dungeon crawler for a while. And there was this whole village where it's like you're rescuing people from their dreams, that their dreams are represented by text. And so it turns into a text adventure game for like 30 minutes. But more or less, like the grand majority of it is hack and slash using magic and all that stuff. Where it's interesting, where Nier Automata was like very sci-fi heavy, your androids, blam blam blam, shooting lasers. This is more on the fantasy spectrum. You're using magic and swords and stuff like that. But the combat is extremely similar, and yeah, same kind of feel. The music is just as amazing. It's fantastic, and it really draws me in. So yeah, there was like, last time I played it, it was like a really big twist that like really made the game like level up huge in my head. I'm like really excited to keep playing and keep going, and so it's got its hooked in me. I'll report back once I have fully beaten the game.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Mighty Ducks. So the Mighty Ducks, I've talked about this series a little bit. I wanted to give an update on Mighty Ducks Game Changer on Disney Plus. I'm getting annoyed. I'll say this. I'm getting a little annoyed with this series. I'm 5 episodes in.
Yeah.
I feel like I can talk about this series and criticize it for where it's at. So I've been feeling like something's wrong. What is it? Something's wrong. And like, it's something really obvious, and I've just realized it in this episode. Where's all the hockey? Like, this is a big freaking deal.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I don't know if they're ramping up to it or whatever, but hockey is like an afterthought in this show. What in the world?
Yeah. It feels like a lot of newer shows do that kind of thing, where they'll take like something old and they'll take like the heart out of it. And it'll just be about the talking and the drama. And yeah,
there's a lot of talking.
I've never liked shows that do that.
A lot of drama. That's like, because let's say the Mighty Ducks was about hockey. There was some like stuff between the kids and between Coach Bombay and stuff, but it was like definitely like aside from like the hockey, which was like the main thing. That it made hockey fun, it made it cool, and it was like majestic the way they did hockey. They made like pee-wee hockey look giant, ridiculously so.
Yeah,
ridiculously so. But this game,
same thing with the big green.
Yeah,
like, there was several movies like that.
They're like reading a paper.
Made it so exciting.
Yeah.
What's the one where the girl plays on the football team?
Little Giants.
Little Giants. Exactly.
I love it. I love it. Make it big. Make it exciting. Make the because like watching it recently, some of those hockey games, they're fun. You're into them. You're watching it, even though they're ridiculous. You're into them, and they're shot well, and they make it really big and epic. This game, they don't do hockey very often, and when they do, it feels small and sad and not shot very well. Not shot like it's epic. What's going on? I don't know. I don't understand this.
Yeah.
It's fun to see Coach Bombay back. Some of the kids are amusing. The mom's pretty good, but where's the hockey? Where's the Mighty Ducks? You know, it's fine that it's focused around a team not called the Ducks, but you want the Ducks feel. It's so strange, and I don't know anyone else who's watching the show, so I don't know if I'm the only one with this criticism, but what in the world? I was like watching it, and all of a sudden I got mad. I was like,
I think there needs to be more like test audiences or something.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I don't know.
Like, do one episode, then do like more testing and like see what feedback is more.
Yeah,
I guess they do that. It's just like, I guess you're not doing it enough.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna finish the season, but if it doesn't turn itself around or whatever, I'm out. But last thing,
Shame, missed opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Mighty Ducks, like that trilogy, is something kind of cool and special. To be honest, I mean, I think it's really cool.
And I like the Karate Kid.
Yeah,
that was executed a lot better.
They had an opportunity to Cobra Kai this crap, but
Yep.
It feels sad.
To duck this crap.
Duck it.
That's too close. To quack it.
They ducked it up.
Quack is back, baby. They ducked it up. Exactly.
It's a family show. Lastly, so we're gonna talk about theaters and theater experiences here a little bit, because I went back to the theaters this weekend. Our theaters opened up.
I saw the theater.
Yeah, I saw 2 movies, but the second one I saw after Mortal Kombat was Demon Slayer, Very interesting, this Demon Slayer. This is
very interesting, this Demon Slayer.
It is. I mean, like, it's kind of unique.
Did it feel like the show?
Yeah, it felt like the show. An epic telling, an epic story that could be told in the show. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, this is the highest grossing. This is mind blowing. The highest grossing movie of Japan ever. What?
We talked about this last week.
Yeah, we did. That's right. And now
insane.
It's
completely
the
insane.
the best opening ever for a foreign film in the United States.
It's insane.
It's very crazy.
Has anime ever done these kind of numbers? That's crazy.
No, I mean, anime keeps growing and growing in its audience. Popular anime like this, is really going to help that. And I think also what kind of helps is there's a lot of synergy with this show. There's like a media blitz with it. They're releasing a video game and they're releasing this movie. And we finished the series. We watched the first season. The first season leads into the movie, which is that's something that's very unique. That doesn't happen very often with anime. With anime, usually what will happen is you watch the show, a movie will come out, and it's maybe in canon, maybe not, and the show doesn't lead into it, and when the show picks back up, it's like it never happened. This is very much a continuation of the show, which is very unique. Not a thing that happens, and so this is a huge show. It blew up. So fans of the series are very much encouraged to go see this movie, because the last episode of the show is very much, here we go, here goes the movie. And so, I think...
Good formula.
Yeah, good formula. Very smart. And
wish Lost had done that. That would have been awesome to end the show on that, like, a movie note. That'd be a good idea.
I agree. I wish shows would do that more often. They'd put out a movie that is, like, very much canonical with the show, and it's like an epic part of the show, and it like feels big because of it, and big things happen in the movie, and it sets up things for the next season. And I had a great time. It was awesome. That's pretty much it. Demon Slayer is great. Go ahead, Luke. What have you been watching / playing? I'm ready for it.
Just a quick thing off the top. I was telling Jordan, like, they've made some changes to Warzone. Probably anybody who plays Warzone already knows this. I didn't actually know it was happening, and then all of a sudden I logged in and said, hours after the decimation of Verdansk, Verdansk is the like map. It's the name of the map they call like the main huge like map that they came out with, year and a half ago now, whatever. And I praised it at the time, I praise it now. I think it's one of the greatest designed maps in any shooter ever.
Oh wow.
I mean, probably. It has an incredible combination of different environments that are fun to have. I mean, it's kind of cool what Warzone does. It's like every time you go online, you kind of write your own story, and you have these interactions and you have these firefights that you'll never have again. And it's like each time it's something new. You drop into different areas and different things happen. And there's a smaller map on an island, and I really enjoy that, and I play that all the time. But it's a little different when you have this like big map, and you can have like all these different interactions on what's basically like 20 smaller maps like combined into this one like land. It's I didn't think I was going to talk about it this much, but it's been something that I've realized recently. Like, this has been my dream, like, since I was young and playing like Unreal Tournament. And it was like, you can have 20 people in the same game or something. It's like, this is insane. This is lunacy. Like, we're running around shooting rail guns and snipers, and it's just like so cool. And that's like nothing compared to what we can do now.
Yeah.
To have 100 people, and sometimes depending on the game mode, more than 100 people in one game, and to have it work as well as it does. I mean, I would say it works well above 85%. There's some times when there's some glitches, but it's still incredible to have people all over the world, all over the country playing together. And anyways, I'll stop. Verdansk was destroyed by some kind of missile. I don't even understand the story, the storyline, why it happened, but it explodes, it destroys the map, and then they like rewind time back to 1984. I'm assuming that's because of Cold War.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know why they waited till now. Cold War came out in November. it's kind of strange.
Ready, or
that
were
they
waiting?
did it now?
Were they waiting for more people to get it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, but anyways, it's just kind of cool. You're seeing like the old versions of everything. Like there's a soccer stadium and it's like much smaller, and the seats are styled 80s style, and like the bridge is made out of bricks now instead of being like a poured concrete like it would be now. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of changes. I'm not going to go into all of them, but it's kind of an interesting idea. Yeah. I thought they were going to just destroy it and you were going to be playing on a destroyed version, which is kind of what Apex Legends has done. It's what Fortnite has done. Mm-hmm. They've like destroyed different parts of their map and had, crazy different changes. An ice thing came down, and lava came down, all kinds of things Apex and
lava
Fortnite
came
has
down.
done.
Ice came down.
I'm trying not to be too long-winded because there's all kinds of things.
I'm really not helping you.
The whole like rewinding time thing is interesting. It's fun. I think it was a good idea. Mm-hmm. I haven't been the biggest fan of Cold War, so it really hasn't spent a lot of my attention, but it is kind of cool seeing that in Warzone. Yeah. I'm also just so glad that Modern Warfare, which is just by far my favorite Call of Duty that's come out probably since 2, has had this like whole second life, because there's been like this double life of Call of Duty Warzone, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and Cold War, like all kind of are 3 properties, but they're kind of the same property. They share like operators is what they call them, which is just your character basically. And they also share weapons into Warzone. It's all mashed into one over the 2 games, and it's a really cool idea. They've definitely never done anything like this in the past. Anyways, I'm rambling. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool. Check out the changes. They have like a whole like free play. It's probably over by now, but it was this weekend. Okay. Something that I think people find a little more interesting. I went back and watched Casablanca, 1942 classic. I think you and I had talked about it recently, that I hadn't seen it. And I've kind of gotten away from my like trying to watch all these classic movies that I've heard about and never watched. And so finally got to dip back into that pool. And I'm so glad I did. It's a great movie. I mean, everybody knows that. It's been talked about over and over again. I watched Citizen Kane, a while back, and now I'm getting to Casablanca. I feel like those are like the two you have to watch. If you like movies, you have to watch like The Godfather, or you have to watch Casablanca and Citizen Kane. So finally got to Casablanca, and I see why people like it so much. It's a great story with a cool, I guess you would consider it a twist. I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting ending that it kind of throws you for a loop a little bit, especially, back in 42 before you'd seen a lot of movies with twists. I'm sure it was a lot more interesting, but yeah, a great cast and just good acting. And it's set in just an interesting backdrop of Casablanca and like in the time of World War II, where there's like all these refugees that have pushed south from France and are now, in North Africa, in Morocco, and being protected by the French. It's like this, if you haven't seen the movie, it's this interesting like mixture of, there's some Nazi occupation going on, but then there's also like French police who are kind of cooperating with the Nazis, kind of not, because their country's being, occupied by the Nazis at this point. And so there's like this whole like, strange dynamic going on there. And, people are kind of ducking and hiding and, backroom deals. And it seems like the main goal in the movie is to get to America. And I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a cool like combination of things. And Humphrey Bogart, like, he's a great actor. So
yeah. And just if I can interject real quick, one thing I will say, if you haven't seen Casablanca, and maybe if you have like an aversion for some like older films, what I will say that I think sets this movie apart a little bit from a lot of great movies back in the day. It's really tight. Like, I feel like the movie itself is really tight. Yeah. Like, it's not, it doesn't waste a lot of time. And I felt like when I watched it, I got and it was over, I got the feeling, oh, wow, that flew by. Like, I feel like you don't get that feeling a lot when you're watching older movies. I feel like you watch them and you're like watching the sunset.
42 as well. It's not a short movie. Yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah, it's an easy watch. It really is. It sounds like it wouldn't be, but it really is. And it's a fun watch too.
Yeah, reminded me so much of The Wonderful Life. Just similar flow and yeah,
Hmm.
just well written.
Flashbacks.
Two
Yeah.
well written movies. So yeah, love that. Definitely go watch it if you have a chance.
Hmm.
Just watch old movies, people. Like I'll say that. Like, yeah, I think it helps put into perspective what things people are getting right and what things people are getting wrong in cinema today when you go back and watch old stuff. I'm not saying all old stuff is better because it's definitely not, but
No.
there are
Yeah.
some things that are great about old stuff, and it's fun to go back and say, well, you know, they didn't get that right, but they did get that right, and you can see inspirations. Yeah, I'll stop. It's really cool.
Casablanca.
um, so I was lucky enough to get an invite from Project X Cloud, so I am now able to play my Xbox games on my iPhone. So
Oh.
the Android platform has had this for a while. It's all still in preview, but um, for those who don't remember, Microsoft had a disagreement with Apple about putting
Yeah.
the xCloud onto the app, excuse me, directly onto the iPhone platform. And the argument was that Apple wanted to have the right to review each and every game on the xCloud platform, which I know if you're saying that doesn't make any sense, I couldn't agree with you more. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. They certainly don't do that for Hulu. They certainly don't do that for, yeah, I don't know if there's another gaming platform, I'm going to say, but they certainly don't do that for movies, which I don't see how it's that much different than movies.
No.
Maybe if there was something about like communication between minors and adults, I could see if that might be a loophole. But
Yeah.
as far as I know, in what I've been playing in the preview, that doesn't happen at all. Like there's no communication. It's just you streaming a game, just like I imagine, you did, Jordan, when you did the PlayStation Now. I imagine it's the same way. It's just basically you playing a game through a stream.
Yeah.
And so I don't really understand that. But the way we worked around it was they made, I'm trying to remember the name of this. This is a Microsoft, I believe this is a Microsoft original thing. It's progressive web apps. That's what they're
Uh-huh.
called. So it's the same idea as when you did when on the early iPhone days where you would add a website as an app onto your home
Oh
screen.
yeah.
But what's much cooler about it is it starts in a website, you sign in, at least in this. I think it may work in different ways in other progressive web apps. But after you sign in, your entire screen goes black. It fills the screen. It becomes an app.
Oh.
Like it's no longer a website at all. It's not like the old way. It's the only thing that's the same is you save it to your home screen just like you used to,
Okay.
in years ago, 2009 or whatever, right before the App Store came out, and it works pretty amazingly. Honestly, it's
That's
as
good.
if you're using an app. The only part is like right at the beginning, you have to click a little thing, sign into my Xbox Live account, and then but once it logs you in, it like goes right into this app interface. You're able to click, whatever game. I ended up playing some Banjo Kazooie just because I wanted to try it, and I
You
didn't have a
hooked?
controller with me at the moment. And there are some games that they've actually enabled touch controls, so you can just play it right on your iPhone with no other, extra equipment, which is nice because I don't really carry my Xbox controller around
Yeah.
with me a lot.
A lot of people
Um,
have that like attachment or
yeah,
whatever that
the
I've seen.
Backbone, something like
I don't
that.
even know how it works. Like through
It's
Bluetooth, I guess.
something bone.
It's the
is the
bone.
one.
The
It's the
X
one. I
bone.
think it's called a Backbone. It's the one I've been looking at, maybe buying. It's just $100.
Ooh.
Ugh. That's a lot for just like a few buttons on each side of my phone.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice, but I have like 6 Xbox controllers here. So
No,
I
they
don't
have a
know.
lot of those like mounts or whatever where you can mount your phone like on your controller. I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of
Yeah.
those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah. So that gets me to my review of the experience itself. So
All right.
overall, like I'm just super excited that I got this invite. I
Yeah.
want to play some more. It's really cool, but it worked okay. It did not work bad. But I never know how much to blame on my internet because I've had issues with my internet in the past where there's just something. I don't know what it is. It's like there's something. to me, it always feels like there's something with the connection, like to the pole and my house.
Like
Because
interference.
I've changed out the modem several times. I think I'm on my third modem, and I've changed out the router so many times. I literally have a stack of like 5 routers in there.
Man.
I'm now on my Eero, which is good. It's probably my favorite thing so far. But there's something along the loop where I've just had issues, and being somebody who is an enthusiast about technology, it frustrates me to no end that I can't fix this myself.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to call Jimmy John or whatever his name is on tech support. I don't want him to go through the top 10 things to do, which I've done endless times over, because
Get you
I
a
know
sandwich, Jimmy John.
I know it by heart. Yeah, Jimmy John. He midnights with Microsoft as a tech support guy and makes sandwiches during the day. Anyways, this is really cool. It's really neat. I love the potential. I think because Microsoft has put so much time into their cloud, for business, and it's now every one of their products is offered as a cloud version of it. You can run Windows in the cloud. You can run the whole Office suite in the cloud. So I think if anybody's going to do this right, I think Microsoft is going to do this right. But I'll just say, like, because the screen's so small, maybe I could get a bigger phone, but it's okay. And so far, to me, it seems like it's very much limited to playing it on Wi-Fi, and pretty substantial Wi-Fi. Like I said, it had a few issues with my Wi-Fi. I was the only one on it at the moment, so
what
I had
were
a
the
lot
issues?
of bandwidth.
Was it like lagging or?
Yeah, a little bit of lag, pretty much. A little bit of stuttering. I mean, it's all probably lag, just manifesting itself in different ways. And that was with Banjo-Kazooie, which is probably going to be one of the easiest games to play, being that it's 2 generations old now, the 360 game. So, yeah, I don't know. Okay. It's a really cool idea. I don't mean to poo-poo it. It's just, it has some ways to go. I mean, I'm in this closed beta for iOS, so it could also just be that there's a few things they need to work out, in updates. But I'm really excited. I think this is going to be just amazing. Like, the fact that you can do what a Switch can do, but with a full Xbox like Game Pass is pretty amazing. Like, and especially I could see this if this was on an iPad. I think that could be like revolutionary. If you were able to play on 5G in the future over an iPad, mounted or hung in front of you in a car or out by the pool, you have some kind of mount with your Xbox controller, that'd be quite an experience.
Absolutely. 5G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still not a 65-inch TV in your living room. Nothing will ever be that except that. So, there's always going to be some compromises. But I mean, a Switch is not that. It's not a 65-inch TV. It's a Switch. It's a, 7-8-inch screen. And people love it. So I think there's certainly an audience for mobile gaming. And pretty amazing that just the Game Pass thing alone is really cool, that you can just jump into all those games without spending a penny more. This is just part of my Game Pass Ultimate, which if you have Xbox Live, you want Game Pass, that is what Ultimate is. So yeah, for me, it's a no-brainer. Maybe you don't want Game Pass. I don't know. Have you listened to our shows? I would say.
Have you listened to it? Get it. Are you kidding me? If you have Xbox, or maybe if you even don't, if you like mobile games.
I think that's one of the coolest things. They were talking about on one of the IGN shows I was listening to that, one of the best things about xCloud versus Stadia is a standalone thing that you pay for that, not everybody, but some people are going to have to buy the starter kit to get, the equipment that, some people may have it already, but really to do it right, you want the ultimate, what is it? What's the slinging thing that, the Google does, their little device. I can't remember, but it's whatever the Chromecast Ultimate. Anyways, it's just that's a standalone thing. You have to pay for it, and xCloud is just, hey, you got Game Pass Ultimate, jump in.
Heck yeah. I think that's great. I think this is gonna be something they're not gonna half-ass. Like, they're gonna put their all into this, and so I think it's a bright future, I think, for xCloud and Game Pass. 100%.
I love the idea of just being able to like be somewhere else in my house and play. Like if Bethany, if in the future my son is watching TV or something, like I can go play somewhere else. I can go play in my bed if I want to. Like I don't think you're able to. I was going to say maybe I could AirPlay to the TV. I'm sure they're going to have an app though sooner or later.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. Oh, just thinking Apple TV, progressive web app. But Apple TV doesn't have a browser, so
yeah. Well, I think they're figuring it out. I think
it's only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time. I think it is too. All right. So, you got anything else?
I do, but we're good. I always have more things. Clink.
That is the sound of wine entering the glass.
Mortal Kombat.
It's time to talk about Mortal Kombat. What does it mean? What does the wine mean?
So, I never actually saw the 1995 Mortal Kombat, Jordan.
Oh, really? Okay. Quickly, my thoughts on that one while we're at it. It's fine. Like, I think it's probably the first like passable video game movie that's come out. And,
Wow.
I think it has some good things about it. I think the chemistry between the leads are pretty good, acceptable chemistry, and some of the fights are good. Some of the special effects are good for the time. It's fine.
I'm looking through like what I always do when I haven't watched them. I'll look through like the screenshots. Kind of get a vibe for it.
Christopher Lambert is Raiden, Highlander himself. Yeah, nice. I was a big fan of Highlander at the time, and then Mortal Kombat, him being in it was just really synergistic for my to appeal to me. So I loved it as a kid, and watching it now, it's still entertaining, honestly, for me at least. So yeah. Shall we, Luke?
So that's where we were.
Yeah.
Now where are we now, Jordan?
Well, here we are. Yeah, Mortal Kombat. It's been a crazy road for Mortal Kombat. We've gotten a few series along the way. Obviously, Annihilation was the horrible sequel to the first Mortal Kombat. Terrible. One of the worst. Like, seriously,
really?
One of the worst. It's so bad. And we had a cartoon series. Then we had like this fan-made. We fan-made Legacy. And recently there was an animated movie called Scorpion's Revenge.
Mortal Kombat Legends, okay.
Yeah. And that brings us to date. After many, many games and a bunch of other media outings, here we go. 2021, here's our Mortal Kombat movie. Let's talk about it. Luke, our rated R graphic and cursing and all that stuff graphic that you'd expect from Mortal Kombat. Spoiler free at first, just to kind of get it out of the way. What did you think of Mortal Kombat 2020?
I thought there was a lot of good things in this. I thought it did as much as it can off of what it's building off of. So, yeah. Did a lot of things right.
Yeah.
For me.
All right. I'm just screwing around, guys. I'm screwing around with the wine thing. I thought this was fine. A perfectly acceptable movie. I had a good time with it. I had fun watching it. The funny thing is, I've watched this twice. Yeah, Amber was very unsure whether or not she wanted to see this in theaters. It's Mortal Kombat. It's rated R. She doesn't like a certain type of gore. Like, she doesn't like a certain type. She saw Alien Covenant in theaters. That whole like backburster thing really upset her. She did not like it. She's like, ugh, that was awful. And so, but the funny thing is, she loves Dread. She loves it. Like, she loves it. It's a funny thing. And Dread's extremely graphic, but it's in surrealism. And she wanted me to see this movie first, tell her how it is, and then we can watch it on HBO Max. Which, talk about surrealism. That is a weird thing in and of itself, to watch a movie in theaters.
Yeah.
Go home, see it streaming on HBO Max, and press play. That's a very strange sensation.
Yeah.
That I felt in full, because I've seen this movie twice, once in theaters, once on streaming with her. And so, I had some experience with this movie, and I feel my opinion was the same both times. I was like, there's some, I think, pretty obvious issues here and there, which we'll discuss. as far as characters and some things that don't quite make sense, and just some really goofy parts. But there's some fun stuff. It's like, if for a lot of fans of the game, there's gonna be enough for you, and even if you're not, maybe I think you're gonna have a good time. I haven't talked to Amber about this as to like what her experience was, but she seemed to have a good enough time as someone who's like, I don't know anything about Mortal. She doesn't know anything about Mortal Kombat, and I'm a casual fan. So yeah, I had a good time. It's, as far as like a movie goes, it's very much like a 5 as far as how good it is. But as far as my enjoyment,
I don't know if I'd agree.
you think it's lower?
No, I think it's better.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you might be right.
I told
too.
you. I think this movie did a lot of things right.
See, I'm trying to separate my emotions from like my enjoyment from like quality, and it's hard to parse that out sometimes, because I had a good time. Like, as far as my good time goes, it's like a 7.5. I really enjoyed it. I think it was. I'm down for a sequel, and yeah, I had fun.
Yeah. I think the intro to this, I think the first scene of this movie is my favorite scene I've ever seen in a video game movie. I thought that intro was just spot on. It was just perfect. It was like exactly how I wanted to be introduced to this movie. Now, the movie didn't keep up that level for the rest of the movie, that's for sure. But that intro, I was like, I am freaking pumped. I watched that first. It was literally exactly 10 minutes. I paused it, and it just happened to be exactly at 10 minutes. And then I had to go do something else. And we're like doing some other things. I'm thinking back, and I'm like, I hope this movie's this good, because I am loving this movie so far.
Yeah, 100%. Let's just jump into it. Yeah, like, jumping into spoilers. That opening scene, I'm with you. The whole scorpion and
great acting. Like,
good acting. Like everything,
I love that his name is Hiroyuki Sanada.
Mm-hmm.
He plays Hanzo, and that guy, I've always liked him. Like, he's just great actor.
He's been in a lot of stuff you might know. He was in Last Samurai, The Wolverine. He was recently he was in
Wolverine
Endgame for like a small role. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. Like,
he's in Army of the Dead.
Oh, is he? So we'll see him again very soon.
Yeah.
With Mortal Kombat, for me, like, it's always been like B movie kind of thing, where it's like, so my expectations was like, there's only so good a Mortal Kombat could be. But if the movie kept up the quality of the first 7-10 minutes or whatever, it would have transcended my expectations and been like, this is beyond
easily
what I thought.
The greatest video game movie by far.
Absolutely 100%. It never,
but it's a lot harder when you throw in all these other characters and all these moving parts, and you have to deal with all this lore and origin stories.
Absolutely. And so when you take just the scene of, it's a classic thing. This is it. The classic scene of the Lin Kuei coming in to destroy Hanzo's clan and kill his family. This is straight out of lore.
They even released like the first 7 minutes of and it's like, no wonder you released that.
Yeah, of course.
You didn't take the middle 7 minutes.
Smart. I'd say very smart. If you're seeing that, you're like, oh man.
My.
I can't believe it. This is going to be a treat. I'm on board, Definitely. Smart. And I don't think it's a hard fall from after that.
No.
But
more of a slip.
Yeah. More of a little bitty slip.
Stumble. Little stumble.
Absolutely. I mean, so we're not going through this bit by bit, but it's important to say that right after this, we get introduced to our vehicle for this movie is Cole. Cole is a new character.
Yeah.
Interesting
Very
choice.
Interesting. Yeah, you had mentioned that before, and I don't know Mortal Kombat well enough to have known that, but during the movie watching it, I looked up a list of all the fighters, so I was kind of following along with that to like see how close their costumes were. And I've played my fair share of Mortal Kombat dating back to PlayStation 1, I want to say. I think that was the first time I played. And back then it was like, oh my god, there's blood in this game.
Sweet. Don't let
a lot of blood for, for the time, but thinking back now, it's like it was so manufactured how bad it was. It's like it's not that bad.
There's like 15 rib cages coming out when someone explodes. It's wild. It's a wild time back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, of all the characters you might like have familiarity with, Cole will not be one of them.
Yeah.
What's your impression on Cole? Let's get this out of the way.
He was fine. I mean, he was kind of your typical like kind of younger, like good looking guy that was just fine as an actor. Like, yeah, he was fine. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. He was okay.
I will say this, like I was really encouraged at the beginning. At the beginning, I was actually encouraged because I like when a hero character is coming from a place where he's not great and he's losing and all that stuff, and he has obvious weaknesses. Yeah. And there was little parts with like his family that I was like, oh, he's got some personality. Like when he goes and takes a bite of his daughter's ice cream, I was like, okay, that was cute. You know, this guy may be like interesting. No, he's fine as far as his acting, but he's one note. He is very one note. He is very generic. He's fine for that. And I'll say this, Mortal Kombat isn't known for incredible characterization. So I'm not like super disappointed by that, but
yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that going on here with these characters. It's like there's a lot of like, let's try to make them interesting, but you know, I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's a little bit of how we talked about like Godzilla vs. Kong. It's like, how much is there to really build off here? You know, you have these like video games that like give a little bit of information on these people, but you know, I mean, there's so many characters in this series too that it's like, how much can you find out about them in the games from the story? So I don't know. You've probably played more than I have.
Yeah, I mean, I played most recently like 9 through 11, which was like when they started leaning heavily into story. And yeah, I mean, it's not like they were doing something there. They were good, but it's not like they were doing something there where I'm like, wow, I'm really feeling for Johnny Cage and Kano. Like, no. I'm having fun, but
yeah,
you know. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff here that like you know, like when I'm watching it, and even now I kind of don't know how I completely feel about it, but I know that like there's a lot of shortcuts here basically, as far as like, let's try to make these characters as like, let's inject them into the plot and make them as much like the video game characters, you know, with minimal time spent. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Kano very much that way as well.
Yeah, very
Sonya
much so.
Blade. I mean, there's not really a lot talked about them, and even like Kano's like, I am the Black Dragon. It's like, well, we don't know what that means. So
okay, whatever you say.
It sounds cool.
Yeah, there was okay, so watching it the second time with Amber had a lot of questions. I will say that. There was like a lot of words and a lot of things thrown around that like I might nod my head along to because I know some of it, but as you said, there's a lot of stuff thrown around where it's like that doesn't mean anything to someone. Yeah. It's not complete gobbledygook to where I think someone can understand enough and enjoy the movie if they don't know anything about Mortal Kombat, but I don't know. Yeah, I think like honestly, just getting into this next part, there's like after Sub-Zero comes and all that stuff, which I will say Sub-Zero, the way they do his like how he's scary, that's cool. This is cool stuff. Like when he comes in, everything freezes and he drops all the ice. It's cool. And the way they do the sound is awesome. The sound design's great. Watching it in the theater and at home, I was like, this is awesome. When the bass drops, when he lifts up all the ice, he's a really ominous presence. I'll say that, which when he shows up, you're like, oh shoot, you know?
Yeah. I love the Hanzo like fight in the beginning, but I did kind of miss Scorpion like most of the movie. It feels like,
yeah,
I do want to see Scorpion more. And, you know, I know there was obviously a lot of buildup there, but yeah, just so good. And even Raiden, it's like he was such a cool character in there's characters like that, Raiden and Scorpion and what's the big bad?
Shang Tsung.
Is his name Shang Tsung?
Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung. I think I said it wrong. The wizard sorcerer Shang Tsung, or Goro.
Yeah. There's like characters like that where it's like these are the most interesting characters, but I feel like maybe because they are presenting them in this world as so overpowered compared to the rest of them,
Yeah.
they have to lean on the lower characters to build the story. And I don't know if I loved that so much, because those are like, I feel like your bread and butter. It's what people come to see. They come to see Raiden do his thing. They come to see Scorpion do his thing. And there was some of that, but there was so much of the movie spent messing with Jax and Kano and Sonya and then Cole, that it felt like a lot of that time was wasted on stuff like Kano like screaming at Sonya. It's like, I'm not as interested in that. I want to see more of the fighting. I want to see more of the bigger characters with the better powers. And there was definitely some of that, but that would be a criticism I would have.
100%. I completely agree with you. And honestly, like, I rest some of that blame. For me, I think a lot of that is to blame on them kind of injecting a new character in here and him being the vehicle. Like, we're going to see a lot of characters relegated to side characters that I'm used to seeing as main characters. And for me, some of the times that's disappointing. Yeah. And you see Scorpion out on the poster and all over the trailers, and you think you're going to get a Scorpion Sub-Zero movie, you're going to be sorely disappointed. And I think it was a mistake to have him absentee through so much of the movie. He's only in there at the beginning and the end. We'll just say that. I mean, like, he's not in this movie, really. I mean, it's kind of disappointing.
Even though he's probably the best actor in the movie.
Definitely, he's the most seasoned actor here. Yeah, and I think like this part is like some of my least favorite stuff in the movie. It's when I feel like I'm watching a video game movie, is when we get to the Sonya trailer park and she is spouting. Like,
this was not a high point.
No, she's going on and on and on and on and on about the more, she's giving the entire premise, and it sounds awful. So, and I don't think the actor who plays Sonya Blade is doing it any favors either. I think she's one of the weaker actors in the movie, where I'm like, this sounds like really poor, her spouting all this stuff off. You know, talking about Mortal Kombat and all these ancient civilizations, dimensions that we don't know about.
It's like you said, there's a lot of information jammed into this like one little thing, and that it's always the hardest thing for a video game to do, like in movie form, is to explain how, especially a game like this where there's like, let's be honest, there's just characters that game designers just said, this would be awesome. Let's make a guy with 4 arms. You know, it's
100%.
Like there's no real backstory to it.
Absolutely.
I mean, there probably is now. You know,
yes,
fans of the series are going to be pissed that I said that, but in the beginning,
you're right. Though, you know, it's all retroactive.
It's just like, what's really cool original characters that we can put in our game as cool fighters. You can change up styles and you can do like cool attacks with it. And it's like, 4 arms, awesome. Shoot fire, awesome. You know, laser beams. It's like all this. It's like, it's literally what Kano like says in the one scene. It's like, what's your thing? It's like, that's probably how that meeting went. It's like, what are we going to give Kano? How about an eye that shoots lasers? It's just like, well, we obviously have to have a fire guy and an ice guy. So.
Yeah, and they've gone a direction with it that really...
It's hard to explain.
It is hard to explain, but they're doing a lot of shorthand here, even more than the video games do, I will say. But I'm on the fence on whether or not it's better or worse. I don't really know. But we'll get into it. I mean, here we're introduced to Kano. What do you think of Kano? Because I'm going to tell you, seeing this movie in theaters, my audience was loving Kano. Really? I was in a very interactive audience. They weren't talking very much, but they were laughing and cheering, all the sort. They were very much ready to see Mortal Kombat. And Kano, they were loving it. Like they were laughing and
Yep.
hanging on every word this man said. What did you think of him?
You know, it feels like so many movies have this character, and
Yeah.
he's just like kind of the same old, same old. It's like, what accent are we going to give him? You know, what race is he going to be? But there's got to be that one guy that's just mouthing off and causing trouble. And so, you know, it's played out. Obviously, any of those characters kind of always annoy me in any movie series, and this certainly was no different.
Yeah.
But I get it. It's like you do kind of want to just have different characters. You don't want, you know, cookie cutter copies of the same character throughout, like the Asian dude that's quiet and also very strong and you know,
Yeah,
an
you wanna
incredible
try to
fighter
mix
in
it
the end.
up.
It's like you can't have too many of those, you know.
Absolutely.
Liu Kang had that covered, so
Oh my God, we'll get to Liu Kang. I have a lot to say about Liu Kang. Maybe not a lot. I have stuff to say. I think Kano, in my opinion, might be. I think he's a boon for this movie. I think he is filling a role that Johnny Cage will fill in the next time around, if we have a next time around. As far as like, I'm gonna be the guy who has all of the comedy. All of the comedy rests upon my head, and I will never
Yep.
shut up.
Yep,
So, I mean,
that's true.
I'm kind of in the middle of you and my audience. I was laughing sometimes.
Your audience.
Yeah, my audience that I own, and I brought to the theater. I had a fun time with Kano some of the time. You know, there are some times where I'm like, this guy's funny and he's injecting some life into this movie and some character. And there's other times where I'm like, dude, shut up, enough already. You know,
Hmm.
and so
There's a lot of that.
yeah, there's some times where I'm like, okay, I want to actually engage in this plot in a semi-serious kind of way. I don't need you commenting on I don't need you to be like Mystery Science Theater on every aspect of this movie.
Yeah.
I want to be able to take some of it seriously, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like at the beginning, he's a welcome presence for me when he's like egging on Sonya and fighting, and Kano wins when he rips out Reptile's heart.
Oh man.
I was having some fun. With him. It's when we get to like the other characters when I'm like, geez, yeah. Do we have to make a parody of every character? Everyone? I want to take them seriously. But anyways, yeah, I thought he was good sometimes, bad other times. But I thought the actor did fine. Like honestly, I thought the actor did fine.
Yep.
He did a good job.
Yeah, it's kind of like you said. It's too much where they have to have somebody to have some comedy, and so they only brought him in.
That's a bad choice, though.
And
right?
You know, that stems from the fact that they're holding back other characters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess we have never switched into spoilers, but I think
we're
in spoilers territory at this point.
We're definitely in spoilers. We switched.
Yeah. So it's just, you know, they held back some of that, and I think, you know, it would have been better to have a little bit more play off each other, have a couple loud mouths like on each side, and it just everyone was kind of this silent like killer type for the most part, except Kano, so it was kind of strange. And then Cole's like this almost more like wide-eyed like young guy a little bit.
Yeah, he's never funny. He's always just a wide-eyed like, whoa, he's the audience. He's supposed to be the audience discovering the world with you. I get it, but he's not he doesn't have a personality, really.
There was also the thing with Cole where I felt like he did absolutely nothing until this like big reveal. And I feel like I've felt like this for a while now, where I think it kind of stems from Marvel, where they know that it's the fan service thing, and so they hold it for this huge reveal. And honestly, I just get annoyed by it. It's just like, just have it naturally fit into the movie. You don't have to work up to this huge reveal in every single movie. Like, yeah, it's fun and you'll have audiences cheer, but I don't think it works for the movie as well. I think
What are
it
you
would have been,
referencing, like specifically when it comes to that?
well, Endgame. I mean, Endgame had the like huge reveal right at the end and Cap holding the hammer.
No, I mean
And
with
it's like
this movie.
that. No, I know. I'm getting around
Oh,
to
sorry.
it. But my point is like that happened in Marvel, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't like that it's like you could have done it so many. You could have done so many other things in the Marvel universe before that,
Yeah.
and you held it all up until the right at the end. And yeah, you got a big payoff, but you didn't have like any of the cool things you could have done with those like crossover things earlier. And in this movie, it was like Cole didn't really fight anybody. Like he got beat up most of the movie up
Yeah.
until the point when he transforms to whatever the F he is. That's another thing I was going to ask you. It's like he's like some scorpion hybrid. I don't. Jordan, you need to explain something to me here. So
Let's do it.
Scorpion's daughter gets left underneath the house and survives the attack when Sub-Zero, kills everybody, but doesn't find her. Where did the daughter go? I assumed at some point they were going to reintroduce her, and they refer to her in the story, but we never meet her. I don't understand how Cole is related to Scorpion. I'm so confused by this, Jordan.
So funny thing is, Luke, when his whole thing was being explained, I actually, the first time I saw the movie, I left the theater. I left the auditorium because I had a phone call and I thought it was important.
Like, F this.
Oh, no. And so I came back and just assumed I didn't miss anything.
If I can't understand it, I'm not even going to watch it.
So when Amber and I were watching the movie, a second time, she was like asking me questions. So I was answering her with confidence. We're like, no. Hanzo, they came from another. They were in another.
Understand.
You just don't understand. They were coming from another world, and he was brought. Cole was the baby brought to the other world. I was 100% wrong, and I was like, "Oh, you see, I left the theater."
That was a girl.
Yeah, and so I don't know. Mortal Kombat doesn't seem to matter for Earthrealm until it does. I don't understand where they were all the other 9 times and why Raiden is telling them last minute, "Oh, you better start training because here comes Shang Tsung and they're going to fight you and they're going to take over your world." I don't get it. I don't know where his ancestors were or if they were chosen ones or what. They don't talk about it. And so I'm only left to say that it doesn't matter, I guess. I don't know.
But it like seems so important though,
Well,
like,
yeah, it definitely begs the
daughter
question.
And then later when he's telling the story, they talk about how the daughter was brought to the temple. But then I didn't follow, well, what happened after that? How does that lead into Cole? I really don't understand how his bloodline is tied to Scorpion. Or Hanzo, whatever.
Yeah,
Hanzo.
it's Scorpion now. It's fine. I don't know. I mean, it's just
I think they could have done something really cool there too. That's one of the things that frustrates me about it. It's like, okay, he's like in bloodline of Scorpion and he's like the next Scorpion, I guess.
Yeah.
But am I right? Like that's what they were getting at, right? He's
You are
the new Scorpion.
You are, and you're right. They did the bare minimum that they possibly could have done with it.
It's a cool idea though, and that's what it's so frustrating that they fumbled it.
Yeah.
Explanation at least. The fight scenes were great.
Yeah, it's like literally a vehicle to pull Scorpion back at the end, and that's really it. I mean, you feel like him being Sub-Zero and him being there is enough. I don't understand why he needs his little spear blade for him to show up, and that's it. And that's like, oh, because like gives him something extra to do. I don't know, but yeah, it's weird. It's a weird way to bring Scorpion into the story through Cole. I don't know. I'm ready to talk about Liu Kang. So
what's your problem, Jordan?
I mean, okay, so Liu Kang's like seriously, if like the thing is, if you know the story, Liu Kang's the chosen one. He's the main character for the most of the time in Mortal Kombat. He is the one who you root for. He is the one destined to beat Shang Tsung or whatever. Bring balance to the Force. Whatever. He's that guy. He is a parody in this movie. When he shows up in like, that's one time where I'm like, God, Kano, shut up when they get to Raiden's temple and like, he's like, look at this little white guy or whatever. And like, I'm like, oh my God. And like, honestly, the actor isn't doing him any favors either. So I recognize this actor. He is in Power Rangers. He is the Black Ranger in Power Rangers.
Yeah.
But when he shows up here, he's doing this over the top, overly serious, like mystical like thing that he's doing where he's like swooping his cape backwards and doing this thing and giving this wide-eyed, you are the chosen one or whatever, you bear the mark. And I'm just like, dude, he is not that overly comically serious. He's not, and I feel like they're basically only making him do that to set up jokes for Kano to inject more comedy into this. And it's making him look stupid. And I'm like, okay, why is this cartoon version of Liu Kang and a not at all serious version where it's one thing that he's relegated to being a side character in this, to be like basically the guide who shows up to be like, come on, Cole,
more of a guide.
Yeah. It just, it's the only thing where I'm just like, ugh.
You also don't see any of the like light side, earth side, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Of this like win a fight up until like the Banshee lady gets like cut in perfect victory.
Yeah, it's the only fight you see them win. They're flawless. Like losers up until then.
Yeah, and that was so frustrating to me. It's like I hate it when the bad guys win so much in some movies and there's like no chance for the good guys to win at all. And then you're supposed to understand that, oh, well, now they just won because they got their crap together. Like, what?
I mean, it's all
they were
poor
absolutely
preparation.
Worthless, and now all of a sudden they're good enough that they beat all the bad guys. Like, that always frustrates me.
It's like a dumb thing too, because like Raiden, when they go to Raiden's temple and he's like, is this what I have to work with? I'm like, well, dude, it was like you and Liu Kang's job to recruit everyone. Why are we doing this now? Just now. You knew the fate of all Earthrealm was hanged in the balance. And this happens every single freaking time when they're like, hey, surprise, you're in Mortal Kombat. Oh, is this what I have to work with? Are you kidding me? I was like, well, what do you want from me, man? I just saw a guy shoot fire. I didn't know any of this was even a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was a birthmark. Is this what I have to work with? Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
Can we talk about the Akana thing? All right. Can we please?
Yeah.
I've been dying to do this because this is one of those things where it's very much a movie invention that I've been kind of wrestling with because it's shorthand for basically everyone having the power that they have in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, Kano doesn't have magic laser eyes. He has his face got messed up and he has basically half his face is a robot. So it's a laser.
Right.
Jax,
right.
Robot arms. It's not, or anything like that.
Yeah.
And you know what? This might be the most efficient way to get these powers in here and to do this and to be like, here's the characters as you know them. They're doing the things that you expect them to do.
It is a hard script to write, though. Yeah. Thinking about they have to introduce all these people, try to explain, where they come from, what their motivation is. Then they have to explain these powers. They have to explain what Mortal Kombat is. Then they have to get to the fighting. So it is quite a challenge. You do have to feel for these screenwriters.
Yeah, it's all about execution with this. I mean, and it's, again, one of those things where it's like, it's kind of funny, but it's not done any favors with Kano constantly being like, oh, so sometimes you get laser eyes, sometimes you get fireballs, sometimes you get a Frisbee hat. It's like, okay, I get it. Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
It's one of those things when you
one of those points where he raises a good point.
Exactly. Too good of a point. Sometimes you gotta, I don't know if it's smart.
It would take forever to explain all those things in their actual real reasoning.
Absolutely. So like the ones that are tech based, the ones that are like actually like could only happen via mystical powers. Absolutely.
Like Jax alone could have had an entire movie about how his arms happen.
Getting his arms, absolutely, and Kano getting his like robot face and all
but no
that
one
stuff.
would go see those movies. That's the problem.
Yeah, and we're living in a world that doesn't have that advanced tech. I mean, Sonya's blasters are usually from some like arm cannon that she has.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm fine with all that. It's all in just the execution where I'm like left kind of going, this is seeming a little X-Men, maybe Power Rangers-y, not just because my boy Zach is here. But I don't know. It could be fun here and there, but tell me how does it work though? Is it needs based? That's kind of the best that I have, that it's based on what you need, because they have Cole like here at the beginning, his coach being like, you got to block and attack or whatever. So he's a bad defender, and so he gets this unbeatable armor.
But like, are you saying that anger causes lasers? Like,
I guess.
Yeah.
Because like that didn't seem needs based. Did he need that, or was it because his eyes got scratched? He gets a laser eye.
Exactly. Jordan, what you just don't understand is if you get angry enough, parts of you just become robotic.
Dude, man.
Everybody knows that.
I've seen a lot of anime, and a lot of crazy stuff happens through anger and willpower.
Yeah.
Never have I seen a robotic arm form.
Robotic parts just vamoose themselves into you just by you getting super angry.
I would love to see how Kung Lao discovered that he had a spinny hat thing. How did he figure that out? I mean,
yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it?
I get like Liu Kang being like, fire
this.
And it comes back to me and I could spit it at E.
Huzzah!
And I guess I could also do this teleporty thing. I mean, it's in the game.
I always loved how he could catch his hat, but it would cut through like body parts.
Oh yeah, man. I'd be so scared to be like, if I'm a little bit off, it's going to cut my hand off.
I mean, how would you even stop it though? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
That was a cool bit there when he appeared, like when he teleported in, when the Outworlders go and attack the sanctuary, and he like helped Liu Kang out and he teleported. That was some cool bit of CGI. There's some of this stuff is well brought to life where you're like,
that whole like thing where he's like, so you can put anyone anywhere. That was like, okay, that's a reasonable explanation to like how you can like set up like levels for like the fights and stuff. It was like, okay, that's not a bad idea. I mean, it's as good as you can get with a fighting game movie.
Absolutely. You know, one of the big complaints I'm hearing is that this is kind of a prequel to Mortal Kombat. There's no tournament here. Mortal Kombat does not occur. This is very much people come try to stop Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And they fight against
It's an interesting way to start off what will, I guess, you know, hopefully for them become a series of movies.
As you said,
interesting way to begin it.
Hopefully for them. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you kind of watch it and you're like, ooh, kind of hope you get that sequel, right? You know?
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Much set that up, didn't they?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, fighting there's a lot of hanging out at the temple until like the fighting commences. I think all this stuff is fine. Honestly, I'm fine with them, you know, kind of bickering and squabbling. There's that. I think the one time it slows down is when they're at the dinner table and before Kano gets his power, and they're all just kind of giving him crap, right?
Yeah. I didn't know where they were going with that.
Me neither. I was like, is he going to try to kill people? What's going to happen here? Because like, I know
he just kept going too far and too far and too far. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I did not think Jax was going to come back. I didn't understand the origin of Jax or that he had robotic arms. I actually didn't remember that. So I was like, wow, I guess they're just going to get rid of a character right off the bat.
Yeah, you and my wife were in the same boat. You know, I'm very familiar with Jax and how he always basically starts with losing his arms. And so that's poor guy. Always, whenever he gets introduced into whatever lore or canon they're telling, it always starts with him losing his arms.
Does he lose them in that way?
It's usually Ermac who takes them off. He's a character who is not in this.
Yeah.
But no, this is fine. The way he loses them works just as well.
I thought it was kind of cool.
It was cool. I was into it.
Yeah.
Freezes his arms. Bam. I mean, let's go ahead and let's get into action, how we get there and all this stuff, right? Because
Indeed.
after like Cabal comes and like goads what's his face, Kano, into like taking down the walls, it's on. And side note here, out of all the bad guys, Cabal's my favorite. I think Cabal's cool. Like, I think it's his voice actor. He's doing this weird, like, it's like Russian mixed with a Brooklyn accent. I don't get it at all. I don't know what accent he's doing, but he's cool. Like, just that weird, like, take whatever offer you want, double it, then double it again. Like, I just thought he had a really cool way of speaking. I thought I was into it. And like when one girl
looked like a Fallout character.
Yeah, he did look like a Fallout character. He looked like a Power Ranger villain too. I'm referencing Power Rangers a lot, but like when he's just like, he introduces that wing girl. I forget. She's a really like D-list character in Mortal Kombat. Beautiful, isn't she? And he's like, yeah, her screech is a real turn on. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, I love this guy.
What is her name?
I forget, man. Her and like the one dude with the hammer, they are like, I looked them up after the fact because I did not recognize them. They are
Natara?
Yeah,
it's Natara.
You're right. It is Natara. They are D-list. They are Mortal Kombat characters, but they're like, they appear in like one game each. They are not like your staples, which, you know what, I'm fine with, because like if they are setting up a franchise, you don't want them to dispose of all their villains in the first one. I'm fine with them having some cannon fodder here.
So is this how the characters always line up? Like, I mean,
like
Raiden and Sub-Zero, like, are they always like on opposite sides?
Yeah, I mean, there are two Sub-Zeros. There's the one we get here who is a bad guy, and then later on there's his brother who aligns with the good side. And so yeah, this is correct though. This one we're getting here is supposed to be bad. Yeah, all the alignments here are correct. Melina's bad, Cabal's bad, Kano's bad.
Yeah,
they're bad. Yeah. Honestly, I thought when the fighting got started, it was really choppy. Did you feel that way?
What do you mean?
Like, okay, so Cole goes home because Raiden tells him a bunch of stuff, and for some reason he's like, go home to your family.
Right.
I guess it's just to really inspire him to get his Akana or whatever. But he goes home, and then Goro comes. And then once they start fighting, everyone else starts fighting. And it's a lot of cutting between this person, now this fight, now this fight. And like, I enjoy fights generally that are like, okay, we can spend some time on this fight so I can understand what's going on and how the fight's going, you know? But there was a lot of cutting here, I felt.
I guess it felt like they were really trying to like create this like epicness to this whole like battle and how grand it was, and all this is going on at once, and it's all leading up to this big thing. It kind of felt like that. And I don't know if it felt that way in the end, but it felt like that was definitely the goal of what they were trying for there. And yeah, I mean, I think it is a good idea to separate characters, have separate fights, and so, you know, levels. So I like that about it. I think it was cool to match certain characters up so that their fighting styles can contrast. And I thought the whole fight at the temple was just interesting. I wish I want to see more from Raiden. It's just there's so many things in this movie. It's just like, I like what you're doing here, but I want more. And like I already said, I just, you know, the like the soul suck thing. It's like, that's cool, soul suck. But it's like, I want more. Like, all he did was grab him. Like, I wanted there to be more of a fight too, because I felt like Kung Lao was like more of a better character than that, to just be like grabbed and like killed. It felt a little anticlimactic for him to die that way.
A lot of Kung Lao fans are pissed. There's a lot of Kung Lao fans out there, and they're pissed that he got done this way. But I think it was right for them to kill someone. But yeah, you felt like he got killed before you even, you know, grew to like him.
Before the crescendo of the movie.
he did one cool thing by doing a fatality on Nataro, which it was at that point, by the way, when watching it with Amber, you know, when that happened, she was like, yeah, this is fine. When he did like that classic spinning hat slice down the middle fatality, it looked just ridiculous enough for her to be like,
silly.
It's silly. And that's, if you're hung up about that, if you're like, I don't know how gory it is, it depends on what kind of gore you're willing to accept. This is very cartoonish. If you can play the game and see that gore, you can watch this movie and see that gore. It is that kind of gore where it's very fake.
Yeah.
But enjoyable.
I think so. I don't know if everyone would agree, but
yeah. I mean, I'm with you.
I think so.
I think it looks very cartoonish, but fun. I thought it's kind of fun seeing him ride.
I mean, it had to be there, right?
Yeah.
There'd be hell to pay if there wasn't that.
Yeah, I mean, as I did not mention, the 95 movie was PG-13. None of that stuff happened. So this was the first time we've seen it. Yeah, not the same. Very much not the same. Different time. But yeah,
somebody's heart needs to be removed. There needs to be a hole in someone that shows their skeletal system.
Absolutely.
Their backbone.
It's a must. It's 100% a must. Backbone, heart, skeletal system. Give me. I was upset. Not upset. That's the wrong thing. I'm not whining about it, but I was kind of just like let down. Like, really, Goro? That's what Goro does. He shows up, rampages a bit, and he's like one of the big bads, Goro.
Yeah.
And so for him to be dispatched so early and so easily with so little buildup and him doing...
But was he dispatched?
Oh, you're right. You see him go down. We can see Kintaro come next time. I don't know.
I mean...
You're right. We could see him again. They only showed Goro in Sub-Zero. Like
There's definitely some characters where it's like they clearly left it open-ended.
Yeah. I will be amazed if we don't see... Kano next movie because he got the gnome in the face with his robotic face.
Exactly.
I'll be amazed if
I'd forgotten the other ones I was thinking of, but exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, because like I will say that one of the things that the 95 movie did so well is building up Goro. He shows up, he kills all these dudes round after round, all these people die, and then so when Johnny Cage comes and says, "I'll fight him," it's like this big moment where you're like, I think he might not survive this because we've seen Goro be so BA. But here he's just like, we are honored to have you, Prince Goro. And he shows up. He's like, and he just gets his,
He hulks up the place. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, then as you said, you get the there's like, they don't want a tournament. We're going to give it to them. And so I feel like this is an okay compromise if they're not going to do the tournament, to like split them up, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's like I said, there's a lot of things that I think they did right. This is one of those things where it's like, I like what you're doing, but I would have liked an official tournament. But it's like you said too. It's like, I sure hope you get that sequel. I hope you make enough money off this. What if this is a dead end? Maybe you could have. Yeah, it's a tough thing. You never know if a thing's going to work out. It's why I think a movie like, that may not be a good example. I was going to say like Iron Man. They did so many things right, but they didn't put too many cards on the table at that point in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, no, I think that is a good example. They did everything they needed it to do in that movie to make that movie feel whole,
Yeah, but I guess it's a little different because Iron Man is a known entity that's been around for 60 years. And, Mortal Kombat obviously is a much shorter life. And there's no character in Mortal Kombat that's going to bring, his milkshake will not bring the boys to the yard, if you will.
You're right. You're not going to get a Johnny Cage movie. You're just not.
Yeah. I mean, people probably know Get Over Here. They probably know the name Sub-Zero. They might even know Scorpion. But are they going to go to a movie just about him?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if they made an amazing movie that had this incredible trailer that people were like, you just got to see it. But I think they know that that's almost impossible. It's not going to happen. So they just have to bring a bunch of stuff under the name Mortal Kombat. And that's really the only chance they probably have of getting people in the seats. So
absolutely. I agree. I think you're right.
It's a tough thing. It is a tough thing. It's like, do we put a ton of stuff to just make this movie as fun and awesome as we can, or do we build up to a series of movies? And you see all these other franchises doing series. Some of them work, some of them don't. And it's like the temptation to the money. It has to be so much that you just are like, we have to go for the series.
Definitely.
We have to hold stuff back.
Mm-hmm.
We can't spend Johnny Cage on the first movie.
Yeah, they clearly want to get someone bigger for Johnny Cage because, again, he's where a lot of your charisma comes from, or it usually is. But let's go ahead and get to the end. What did you think of that final fight with when Scorpion shows up and they fight Sub-Zero or whatever?
I thought it was another highlight of the movie. Really, it was a high point. I thought it was a little unfair to make Sub-Zero a character that can literally like take on two of your baddest good guys, but
he is very OP.
It did make it fun. Yeah, it made it fun, and I don't know why this guy who's as old as dirt is able to like keep up with apparently a hellfire conjurer and whatever this guy is, Cole. I still don't really, I'm still not clear as to what he is. I know he's in the bloodlines of Scorpion, but yeah, I guess I need somebody to like write out for me what
why you should care, or
what in canon is Cole Young. Like, is he the great grandson of Scorpion? I'm a little unclear. But basically, you're two like BAs, other than a few characters, but your two big BAs are able to like barely keep up with Sub-Zero, but still, it was really cool. It just the ice world was awesome, and I wish Scorpion had thrown more fireballs. I would have liked that.
Yeah, of him do like his teleporty power where he goes into like a hell portal and teleports. He does that a lot in the games. I was wanting to see that.
Yeah,
but yeah, he did enough to where I was like, cool. One thing I will say, this is nitpicky, but and kind of like you don't want to hear this, but I really wish we had him speak English like one time before he said, "Get over here." Because it makes it very clear that
he can just say it in Japanese.
Or just say it in Japanese. That probably would have been the way to go, but there was probably some notes that he had to say it. Yeah, but whatever. That's nitpicking, I guess.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to hear it. My crowd was cheering, hooping, and hollering when he said, "Get over here." Woo! He said the thing from the game.
That's the kind of stuff. That's what I was talking about. It just drives me crazy. It just
no later, Luke.
Do it
now.
To do it
now.
Do it where it works.
No, now.
I guess it worked. I don't know. It's just...
No, now. We have to have it now. Immediately. It's okay. Yeah, you're right. Good fight. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, like Shang Tsung is like, "I'll be back."
Yeah, of course.
Of course, when the actual Mortal Kombat thing happens, I guess.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they actually do. Though, will they do the tournament?
Yeah, I hope they do.
We don't know that they will.
Yeah, because he said like next time I'll be back, it won't be fighters, it'll be an army. And I was like, man, I want my tournament. Give me my tournament. Because a lot of Mortal Kombat is like wars and stuff like that. Like very small portion of like the story is like an actual tournament. A lot of it's like conflict and wars, but give me my tournament. I can't have a war before I have the tournament.
That's not going to be something that's going to bring butts to seats, though.
No.
So I don't think they'll do that. But they certainly don't give you a lot of confidence that it's like, okay, next thing we're doing, we're going to Hollywood, then we're going to Mortal Kombat. Like, you feel like that's what's going to happen, but you definitely don't know.
I was surprised that the Johnny Cage wasn't in the movie, but I was almost more surprised the way they built him up. Like, yeah, baby, get excited. Johnny Cage. We're going to get him. We haven't casted him yet. We're going to get him.
Who would you cast?
Dude, I don't know. I am sorry. I don't have anyone. I mean, It's a tough thing to do because you want someone with a physicality, but also someone with a charisma.
Yeah.
It's hard to do because you want someone who's going to impress with martial arts skills.
Back in the day, it would have been Van Damme.
It would have 100% been Van Damme.
But he wouldn't have.
Right.
I don't know that he would have had the charisma for it, though.
Yeah.
I love Van Damme, but he's not the big talker.
Yeah.
But he certainly fits the physique and the fighting ability.
I mean, literally just do tryouts. If someone, he doesn't have to be a main actor. It doesn't have to be like Chris Pine or whatever. As long as it's
Chris
Pratt, teach him martial arts.
He's not a martial arts guy, but he definitely has the mouth for it.
I want them to have someone, because you can really tell when someone is on screen who knows martial arts and someone who doesn't. Like in the beginning, you can tell that actor knows martial arts and sword play, and so you can film him like that. I really and like when you see the trailer for Shang-Chi, you can tell that guy knows martial arts when you have that one cut of him doing like punch, jump, split kick. You're like, that's awesome. I want to see that,
Somebody did a Photoshop job of Chris Pratt as Johnny Cage.
No way.
I sent it to you.
Oh, wow. They totally did, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, he would have the charisma in spades.
He would.
I'll say that.
He would.
In spades, he'd have
if
the
only
charisma.
you could have a Van Damme Pratt. That would be the perfect combination.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes through training, like if you train him, like you can do stunt doubles, of course, but if you train him to be believable, that's all I want.
He's shown he can get in some ridiculous shape.
Ridiculous.
It would just be the martial arts that I think would be the hiccup.
Absolutely. But I'd be 100% down for that. Now, that would bring, as you said, butts to the seats. People would be excited out of their mind.
He looks the part too, I think.
Yeah.
I think he could really look the part.
100%. 100%. Awesome ending song. Awesome remix of the original theme.
Yep.
And it's over. We did
no
it.
after credits scene. I thought there would be.
Yeah, no after credits scene. It kind of felt like it almost felt like that scene with them being like, here comes Johnny Cage. It felt like that was like pitched as maybe that's an after credit scene, and they decided, no, let's put it in the movie. Like it almost felt like something you would put in as an after credit scene. Like it would end on who do we start with, and then the credits would roll, and then it would kind of fade in with him.
Yep. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, I had a good time, honestly. Even though we've picked at this movie a lot, that's the thing I'm saying. I'm picking at this a lot, but as a whole, I was entertained,
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of good things about this movie. There's a lot of goofy things about this movie, but look at the source material, and for that reason, I give this movie a lot of credit. It just, as we already said, it'd be an incredibly hard thing to script all these storylines combining into this crazy tournament that by itself is hard to explain, not to mention these characters coming from different worlds and having powers. I mean, there's just so many moving parts, and so there's always going to be a goofiness to any video game movie that has like characters with powers and characters from multiple worlds. And so it's always going to be easier to do Uncharted. It's always going to be easier because it's simple real life stuff that you can skip a lot of the understanding of what's going on and go right into the serious acting. So for that reason, you have to forgive this movie, I think, for a lot of that stuff and just see it for did it accomplish what it came out to? And I think it did. It gave us some great fights between Mortal Kombat villains, heroes, and it gave us I was going to say timeless moments, but that's not true at all. It gave us moments that we were looking for when we, came to watch the movie, whether we pressed stream or went to an actual theater.
Well, yeah, they're iconic from the video game, but they're represented well here, I will say. I think yeah, and very, very iconic moments. But yeah, I agree with you. All in all, I had a good time. And are you ready for a sequel? You're
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm with you. I
had a good time. I mean, like you said, I would say it's an easy 7, and just because it's Mortal Kombat and it's something, I'm not a huge Mortal Kombat fan, but it's something I played when I was a kid. It's something I kind of grew up with, either playing a little bit or at least kind of like keeping an eye on the franchise,
Mm-hmm.
you know, from friends of mine, or just like looking up fatalities. It's like
Yeah.
franchise I'm super familiar with, and it's such a silly thing that it's, you know, I kind of want a movie that's like as serious as you can be, but I don't mind some of the silliness because that is kind of how the game is.
Absolutely. I'm going to end this podcast with a PSA. Theaters are opening back up. It's time for everyone to go back to the movies. Have a fun time. I had a fun time going back to theaters this weekend.
I'm so disappointed I missed it.
Yeah, I mean, and there'll be many more. I'm going to see more movies, and more movies will be coming out. We talked about them all last week. Check out that episode if you're curious. But I'll say this. We've been inside for a long time watching movies with our loved ones, sitting down next to the TV. And, you know, I think it's important to forget it's important to remember.
Important to forget this. Now listen.
It's important to remember this very important thing when entering the theater. Shut up.
Yep. Shut your mouth.
Shut up. You can have a good time.
You should just be standing there as people walk in. Hi. Shut your mouth.
Shut up. Shut up. I mean, okay, so I had a great time in Mortal Kombat. I think everyone was appropriate, laughing, cheering, reacting to the movie in a reasonable way.
These are probably diehard movie fans too, like theater fans.
Yeah, they were excited to be
people
at the theater.
Are like, yes, theater's open.
There was a good combination. People were excited to be back at the theaters, excited to see Mortal Kombat. Okay, then I saw Demon Slayer. Shut up. Shut up. If you're there taking your daughter or taking someone to see a movie you don't want to see, either don't go or shut up.
Is that what happened?
I get the feeling that is the case, that there's a few people there who was like, I really want to see this. And a few people here who are just like, I'm here because this person likes this thing that I don't know much about. Shut up. Just be quiet. I mean, laughing, cheering, gasping. You shouldn't go. There's times where I'm like sitting back and I'm distracted from the movie. I'm just sitting here wondering, I wonder what they could be talking about for so long. What could they possibly be going on about? Is it politics? Is it stuff going on in their lives? Are they going through a breakup? What's happening? And so just shut up. Just shut up. You are robbing people of the experience of seeing the movie that they're excited to see. Laughing, cheering, getting into the movie is fine. And by the way, when I say laughing, I don't mean like going to the theater with your friends. We're going to make fun of this movie. We're going to laugh at inappropriate moments. It's going to be great. Shut up. You fall under the shut up category. Just shut up. So, okay. That's it. I just want to get that off my chest. It's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. I understand. We're used to seeing these big movies at home. You're not alone. You're with strangers. Shut up. Sorry. Anything you want to say about that topic, Luke?
I mean, I'm so excited that they're open, and
yeah, me too.
Yeah, I just go support your local theater, I guess would be my big thing. Like,
yes.
I couldn't agree more about like being quiet, but yeah, just support these theaters. Like, remember that these theaters are, yes, they're part of a bigger chain, but they're also supporting local people that love movies and want to work in movies. And, you know, they kind of say it as a joke in like the commercial for like working at the theater. They're like, you know, it's an entry into the entertainment business. And, you know, I don't know how true that is, but the fact of the matter is, it is a fun job that like either a young person or, you know, maybe even a middle-aged person is getting to do. And they probably just love movies and love being around them. And, you know, if you're a lover of the theater like we are, and you probably are if you're bothering, especially to listen to us blabber on for this long, you know, support those people by going to your local theater and keeping that theater open. And I realize that we can watch stuff at home, but you know, once theaters are gone, they're going to be gone. It'll be almost impossible to ever raise enough capital to like create this system that has been around now for 70, 80 years or whatever. So yeah, I just support them. I hope they can stay open, and
absolutely
thank you for reopening. I appreciate it.
And I was heartened to see the crowds that were there, Luke. I thought I'd tell you this anecdotally. This weekend, looked great for our local theater. I mean, there were crowds
Yeah.
there. We were going to get popcorn. I didn't get popcorn because I saw the line was stretching towards the
Wow.
door as for the concessions. But
And we had a second theater open. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we did. We have both
Yeah.
our biggest theaters are open, and we have a smaller, dinkier one that opens like later in May. But yeah, crowds were there. Our theaters for both movies that we
Wait.
saw were as full as they could be.
The one off Newberry Road's open?
Not yet. No, the dinkier one is not open yet. The Royal Park.
Well, that one's actually bigger.
Oh, true.
There's more
It's bigger.
theaters.
We just hate
But
it.
yeah. It's not remodeled.
No, not fun to see a movie there if we have
No.
to. And the smaller movies there.
Sounds terrible.
Awful. Seats are terrible. Oh my god. But we're back, baby. Back to the
Yep.
movies. But yeah, that does it for this episode, Luke.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you next week, everyone.
See ya.